Good afternoon. The video printer is running. We have reporters at 22 of today's matches. After the World Cup qualifiers, club football has resumed with a fascinating fixture list. Here in the studio, Steve Claridge, Lee Dixon and Garth Crooks are watching the Barclays Premier League matches being played. One Premier League result is already in. Middlesbrough 0, Chelsea 5. And in the SPL, it was Inverness Caledonian Thistle 1, Celtic 2. More details to follow. But news now on the matches still underway. After Chelsea's win, let's hear about unbeaten Liverpool at home to Wigan. Damien Johnson reporting.
Liverpool 1, Wigan 2. 2 goals from Amir Zaki have given Wigan hope of a first ever Premier League victory over a so-called Big Four club. He pounced on Daniel Agger's mistake to put his side in front and produced a spectacular overhead kick to restore their lead. That after Dirk Kuyt had equalised. It's been all Liverpool in the second half as they look to maintain their unbeaten start to the season. Agger, Kuyt and Riera have all gone close in the second half, but Wigan lead.
So Liverpool behind. News now from the Emirates, where Arsenal are playing Everton. Roger Johnson reporting.
It's Arsenal 1, Everton 1. Leon Osman fired Everton ahead and they early in the game, and they deserved the lead, which they held until 4 minutes into the second half. Theo Walcott was a half-time substitute for Arsenal, and the injection of pace has tilted the balance in the home side's favour. Walcott was involved in the build-up to Samir Nasri's driven equaliser. Tempest frayed moments ago. It's fast, it's competitive, and it's Arsenal 1, Everton 1.
Aston Villa versus Portsmouth was 5th against 7th when the match kicked off. Latest news and the stories so far comes from Ivan Gaskell.
And it's all very tight. Midpoint of the second half, Villa 0, Portsmouth 0. Far from dull. If only we could find someone to shoot on target here. Lots of chances. Davis for Villa and particularly Defoe for Portsmouth have blazed over the bar when they really should have broken the net. Traore's hit a post, Villa fractionally on top, but it's a close call, 0-0.
Bolton versus Blackburn is a Lancashire derby. Andrew James reporting.
Ray, it's Bolton 0, Blackburn 0, and when Ruud Gullit spoke of sexy football, I don't think he was thinking of this. Fog all around the stadium, rain driving through it, and no more than half a dozen chances between the two sides so far. 25,000 fans here, they're passionate enough. The game needs a goal, though.
It was 3 straight defeats for Fulham going into a home game with Sunderland. Dan Walker's at Craven Cottage.
Really open game now, Ray. Fulham looking the livelier, but spare a thought for Sunderland's Kieran Richardson. So close twice in the first half. A free kick hit the post 3 times before falling to Mark Schwarzer. In the second, he was off celebrating again, but the referee disallowed it for a foul in the wall. That one did go in. Zoltan Giras had some good chances for Fulham, and a Jimmy Bullard pile driver has been well saved by Craig Gordon, but it's a great second half.
Still time for scorelines to change in those matches. Manchester United and West Bromwich Albion kick off at 5:30. Middlesbrough and Chelsea kicked off at 12:45. The match finished just on 2 hours ago. A match watched by Steve Wilson.
Chelsea, without 7 first-team regulars, absolutely destroyed Middlesbrough at the Riverside Stadium, winning comfortably by 5-0, and it could have been many more. Salomon Kalou, the only scorer in the first half. There were many chances missed in that period, but then Chelsea scored 4 in 16 minutes at the start of the second half. First Belletti, then Kalou with a second, Lampard with a delightful guided header for a wonderful 4th goal, and Malouda made it 5. There could have been others after that. Middlesbrough were feeble, Chelsea was simply fantastic. We knew they could win under previous managers, now we know they can play. 5-0 to Chelsea.
Something of a shock result in League Two this afternoon. Rotherham had the strongest home form in League Two, but they're crashing at home to Barnet this afternoon. Rotherham kicked off 3rd bottom and Barnet 5th bottom. Cliff Aguirang on 62 minutes makes it Rotherham 1, Barnet 4. Garth, Chelsea very impressive today. Could have been more than 5, couldn't it?
Well, I'm not going to get too carried away with the report. Chelsea were very impressive, no doubt about it. So comfortable at times, it was frightening. But we've always known Chelsea can play. That's never been any doubt for me. What Chelsea all can do, they can mix it if they want to. You want to fight with them, they'll fight you. If you want to play, they'll play. And they can probably outdo you at both. That's the depth of their squad. But Middlesbrough today were miserable. They looked intimidated, at times looked frightened, and Gareth Southgate has got to get them over that. You play top teams, you're not intimidated in this division, otherwise you go astray.
Equaliser for Oldham at home to Leicester. This is 3rd against 2nd. Oldham 1, Leicester 1. Key goal for Oldham Athletic. Cheltenham 1, Scunthorpe 1. That's the leaders in League 1. Suddenly been pegged back. Cheltenham kicked off in 18th place. An equaliser through Paul Connor on 69 minutes. Cheltenham 1, Scunthorpe 1. The leaders being held. Are Liverpool going to get back into the game against Wigan, Steve?
I'm not so sure now. I always thought after they'd First half in particular, it was a little bit like reflective of the Arsenal game. There were good chances, gilt-edged chances at times for them. They didn't take it. They've got done by an absolutely sublime volley from Amizaki. I think if you come off a pitch and and you can see the goal like that, you hold your hand up and say there's very little we could do about it. Certainly that wasn't the case with the first one, and they'll be kicking themselves if they do lose this game.
Was there a turning point for Arsenal?
Well, obviously the introduction of a bit of pace. Theo Walcott's come on after in the second half on that right side, and straight away he had an impact. He created something, a free kick. Then they got a corner from it, and Nasri scored from the resulting corner. But they've had a lot of the ball at Arsenal in times. Van Persie first half, they created chances, but defensively they look a little bit all over the place. Sylvester's come in for his first game, not quite at the game. Song at right back has been a little bit out of position, and to be fair, to Everton, they've created some chances. So 1-1 is probably a fair result at this moment.
News from Andy May, who's watching the Ipswich-Swansea game of the Championship. 17 versus 6 when the game kicked off.
An absolute cracking goal, Ray. Jordi Gomez got the ball just a few moments ago on the far-hand side, on his right, turned onto his natural left-hand side and drove the ball home from just inside the box. Swansea have scored 2 now in this first half after Ipswich dominated in the first half. It's 2-1 to the visitors at Portman Road.
In League One, league leaders Scunthorpe have taken an 8-game unbeaten run to Cheltenham. Tony Colliver reporting.
Cheltenham won, Scunthorpe won. The visitors held a first-half lead through Gary Hooper, but the home side deservedly drew level following a corner on the near side, which found substitute Paul Connor, and his looping header crept in. Cheltenham won, Scunthorpe won.
Goal. It's third versus second in League One at Boundary Park. Oldham versus Leicester. But I'm hearing news of a goal at the Emirates. Arsenal at home to Everton. Let's hear from Roger Johnson.
It's Arsenal 2, Everton 1. Robin van Persie has scored the goal with 20 minutes to go. A counter-attack by Arsenal. The shot initially came in. It was well saved by Tim Howard, but he could only palm it away, and it fell on a plate for Van Persie to nod it in inside the 6 yards box. Everton had the lead, but now Arsenal have come from behind and they lead by 2-1.
So we'll be discussing that developments of the Emirates in a moment, but let's just hear about that goal at Boundary Park from Mark Clement.
Yeah, it's now Oldham 1, Leicester 1. It's been an onslaught from Oldham since Stephen Howard's header gave Leicester the lead. Danny Whittaker, left-footer from the edge of the box. It was wonderful. Oldham 1, Leicester 1.
So, Lee Dixon, did your Arsenal side deserve this victory with the way things started?
Well, I said it was probably a fair result at the time, but Arsenal were on top. And to be fair, the one player who you thought might get the goal was Van Persie. First half, he created most of the chances. He looked sharp. He was doing his back heels that were coming off. He looked like he was enjoying playing, because when he plays and he's fit, there's no better player in the Premiership for me up front. I think he's an excellent player, but you've just got to keep him fit. And, it's a sharp finish in the end in the 6-yard box.
Still time for scorelines to change, and Liverpool are still behind at home to Wigan. 10 games in total on today's Coca-Cola Championship fixture list. League leaders Birmingham away at Burnley. Mark Bishop reporting.
It's Burnley 1, Birmingham City 1. They've just equalised, Ray, and it was substitute James McFadden. What a difference he's made. Why didn't he start this game? Lovely ball through the middle, a shot. Jensen could only parry, and in came Cameron Jerome, rifling the ball into the back of the net. Burnley 1, Birmingham City 1.
The Championship, as ever, is fascinating. To Scotland, let's hear more details on Celtic's game away at Inverness Caledonian Thistle. 12:30 kick-off, David McKinney reporting.
Inverness 1, Celtic 2, and 3 points clear in the league. Celtic will take a good result, if not a good performance, into Tuesday's game at Old Trafford. Goals by Scott Brown and Glenn Loovens gave them victory on an uncomfortable afternoon. Brown's precise shot put the visitors ahead 2 minutes after the interval, and Loovens added a second with a fine header. Inverness came back through Gary Wood. However, Celtic held out, but they lost Mark Crosses to injury. They're already without Jan Vennegoor of Hesselink and possibly Georgios Samaras. A tougher task awaits on Tuesday night in Manchester. Inverness 1, Celtic 2.
Celtic top of the table by 3 points. Rangers game with Dundee United postponed as a mark of respect after the death of United chairman Eddie Thompson. 3 other SPL games are being played. Kilmarnock against Motherwell is 1. Latest news from Brian McLaughlin.
No goals, Ray, but Motherwell having to play the last half hour with just 10 men. Connor Salmon played in David Fernandez for Kilmarnock. Clean through and goal. Paul Quinn then scythed him down just outside the box. A straight red card for the Motherwell defender. 16 minutes left for play. Kilmarnock 0, Motherwell 0.
Blue Square Premier League leaders Crawley have gone a goal down away at Histon. Antonio Murray on 75 minutes. The leaders are losing so far. Rotherham making a game of it, perhaps? Are they going to fight back at the Don Valley Stadium? Rotherham 2, Barnet 4. Back to Scotland in the SPL. Falkirk playing Aberdeen. Second bottom versus bottom. Falkirk go bottom if they lose. Steve Sutton reporting.
Yes, and they are losing, Ray. It's Falkirk 0, Aberdeen 1. Aberdeen still leading by that goal early in the second half. A Lee Miller header, but Falkirk with a golden opportunity to equalise a few moments ago. Neil McCann put through by a defensive lapse by Aberdeen, but he fired over the top. It's Falkirk 0, Aberdeen 1.
1 win in 7 for Bristol City. They've taken the lead at home to Norwich and Ashton Gate through Jamie McComb with 15 minutes to go. Back to the SPL. Hamilton playing Samirani. Ian Turner reporting.
A game with a lot of what you want from a game. A keeper getting tripped, then soaked by a sprinkler. The same keeper, Cherney, saving a Mehmet penalty. An opener for Saints from a man called Miranda. An equaliser off Jack Ross's head from a Corcoran free kick. And then another own goal, I think from Chris Swales, that gave Saints the lead they still hold. Hamilton 1, St Mirren 2.
Let's go back to Anfield. It's not a goal, but developments. Damien Johnson.
Wigan still lead by 2 goals to 1, but they're down to 10 men because they've had a man sent off. It's number 16 who has gone, Antonio Valencia. Second yellow card. He scythed into Alonso. And the referee, Mr. Wiley, had no hesitation in showing him a second yellow, and he's off. So Wigan having to hang on here. They lead 2-1.
Are they going to hang on? Was that red card deserved?
I think Steve.
Well, I think that's more from the. I think he's got the ball initially, but I think it's more from the side. We've seen it happen time and time again. We saw another occasion. They're getting the ball with the first leg, but the second leg is the one that's doing the damage. And I think players know what they're doing when they make these sort of tackles.
For me, the ball goes in the wrong direction if you make contact with the ball. The ball shouldn't be going away. It should be going with the momentum of the tackle. It doesn't do that for me. It is a second yellow, and he does go.
If it is a second yellow, then yeah, I suppose he's got to go.
Are Liverpool going to get a goal here? Yes, no?
I hope not.
No.
So I think Wigan
had a fantastic chance from a free kick. And funnily enough, the goal that was ruled out at Sunderland, where someone has pulled the wall, Liverpool players just done that. It wasn't given. It opened the goal up for Gerrard, and really he side-footed the free kick, and he's got about 4 yards to aim at, and he's missed the goal. It's an excellent opportunity.
At no stage, Ray, have Wigan not deserved anything here.
Stenhousemuir are the unbeaten league leaders of Scottish Division 3, but they're losing away at Elgin. Guy Kerr with what possibly could be the winning goal with 4 minutes to go. Who would know? Still time for scorelines to change. Bristol City, 2 points of a playoff place. Norwich, 2 points above a relegation place when the game at Ashton Gate got underway today. Latest news from Hamish Marshall.
Yeah, Bristol City 1, Norwich 0. City finally breaking the deadlock. Central defender Jamie McComb getting in behind the Norwich defence after a long free kick went over everyone. Norwich have contributed plenty to this game, but it looks as if their poor run looks like being extended. Bristol City 1, Norwich 0.
Let's stay in the Championship. 2 defeats after an unbeaten run of 8 has cost Wolves top spot in the table. They're playing Coventry, arrived in 6th place. Steve Lees at Molineux.
Yes, it's Wolves 2, Coventry 1, about 9 minutes to go. Wolves hanging on a bit. They're leading through Sylvain Ebanks, Blake's goal in the second half and Michael Kitely's goal in the first half after Coventry had got the early breakthrough through Michael Mifsud. But these last few minutes have seen Coventry come on strong. A double chance for Clinton Morrison and Jay Tabb. Wolves, as I say, hanging on a bit, but it's 2-1.
Preston North End on a run of 4 defeats, having gone unbeaten in their first 6 games. 3rd place, Reading arrived at Deepdale with 3 straight wins. Richard Askham with the latest.
Preston 1, Reading 1. Ray, a game for the most part Reading have controlled. Is slipping away from them just at the moment. Preston attacking. The visitors took the lead in the first half. Stephen Hunt from the spot and were playing within themselves at that point. But the softest of soft equalisers. An own goal from Ivor Ingimarsson. We almost had another bizarre goal there. Preston on the attack again. And John Parkin a moment ago smacked a pile driver against the crossbar, but it's 1-1.
Second bottom playing 6th in League One. Crewe against Milton Keynes Dons, promoted, of course, from League 2 at the end of the last season. The Dons have an equaliser through Luke Chadwick with 11 minutes to go. Let's go to Villa Park. Aston Villa against Portsmouth. Ivan Gaskell.
Yes, it's still 0-0. It's still very tight. The game itself has kind of died away a little bit here, but there has been some drama because Sean Davis is walking disconsolately down the touchline. He's been dismissed. A second yellow, a first half foul followed by a second half foul. No real argument. He clearly seemed to pull back Stilian Petrov. There are 9 minutes left. Villa are unbeaten still in this league campaign here at Villa Park, and only Chelsea, Liverpool and Manchester United can match that, but they're looking to go for the win now. It's 9 minutes left, or thereabouts, and it's 0-0.
Portsmouth manager Harry Redknapp, 25 years in management this weekend. He's jumping them down on that touchline at the moment about that sending off. Was it deserved?
Well, I don't think the ref's got any choice, has he? No. He's pulled him back. The guy's away from him. Davis has pulled him back by the arm, which is a booking. He's already been booked. I don't see how you can complain.
You don't want to see people go for something so trivial, but he lives in he's got no other option. The referee.
But they're the rules, Garth, aren't they?
It was a high price to pay, and Davis will look at himself and think I was a bit stupid.
Yeah.
1 defeat in 10 for Cardiff going into a home game with Charlton in the Championship. 7th versus 14th, although Charlton only 2 points off a playoff place at kick-off. Gareth Williams reporting.
Cardiff City 2, Charlton Athletic 0. Cardiff led at the break thanks to Ross McCormack's 7th league goal of the season. Peter Wickenham's effort was blocked by Nicky Weaver. The ball fell nicely for McCormack just outside the 6-yard box, and the striker stroked it just inside the far left post. Ross McCormack grabbed the Bluebirds' second goal after Cardiff won a free kick just outside the 18-yard box. McCormack stepped up to drive the ball past Weaver, and just to make matters worse, Charlton are down to 10 men. Captain Hudson sent off. Cardiff 2, Charlton 0.
Goal at Liverpool in the Liverpool-Wigan game. Damien Johnson reporting.
Liverpool have an equaliser. Albert Riera was the scorer. It was made by substitute Nabil Elzar, a French-Moroccan who came on a few moments ago. Good run down the left-hand side. He picked out Riera, and Riera, having stepped over the ball, Steven Gerrard, he left it for Riera, 20 yards out, drilled it past Kirkland. Liverpool all square, 2-2.
Well, they came from behind to beat Manchester City, didn't they? They left it very late, wasn't it, at Anfield at home to Middlesbrough? Was that 2 goals in the last sort of 2 or 3 minutes? Are they going to get a winner now?
Liverpool Man City, wasn't it? That they came out from 2-0 down. It was
Are they going to get a winner here, Garth?
Again, I hope not, because I think Wigan have been fantastic today. They've gone down to 10 men. Some might think unfortunate. On match of the day, you can make up your own mind. But it's nice to see a side like Wigan grow and not be intimidated by Liverpool, stand up and be counted. And I'd like to see them get at least something out of the game, at least a point.
They deserve something.
I think they deserve something. But Liverpool, when they play, they could win it.
When you're playing against the big boys, you have to play for 90 minutes, not 70 minutes. And that's why Liverpool are one of the top clubs, because they play right to the end.
Absolutely right.
Can you see signs of them just going through into an extra gear
You
now?
wouldn't be surprised, to be fair, because they are obviously, they're on the ascendancy now.
They haven't dominated any part of this game. It's been a very even game. And as Garth says, Wigan have more than played their part. They'd be hard done by if they were to lose this in the end.
Still time for scorelines to change. Unbeaten runs was one story going into the Derby-Plymouth game today. Derby unbeaten in 6, Plymouth in 5. The other story in the news being reports of match-fixing allegations on the back of Derby's recent win at Norwich. Alan Biggs reporting.
Well, it's Derby 2, Plymouth 1, Ray. Difficult few days for Derby, as you've explained, but this game very much about brilliant goals rather than any puzzling errors. Derby looked like extending their unbeaten run at the expense of Plymouth, despite the early shock of Paul Gallagher's goal. This came literally right out of a bright blue sky 30-yarder with the keeper off his line. Derby hitting back either side of the break. Great run and cross from substitute Chris Commons for Rob Hulse to convert expertly, and then a 25-yard volley from Paul Green, making it Derby 2, Plymouth 1.
In League 2, Wycombe were the league leaders at 3 o'clock, unbeaten Wycombe. Dagenham and Redbridge second. They're playing Bury, only a point behind them in 5th. Simon Mann reporting.
Well, Dagenham and Redbridge won't be second tonight. Bury will be above them because they've wrapped this game up through Elliot Bennett, who's the man on loan from Wolves. He's caught the eye as well on the right side of midfield for Bury today with his pace. It was a lovely finish as well inside the penalty area, nonchalantly into the corner of the net. Dagenham and Redbridge 0, Bury 3. It's no more than Bury have deserved. They played really well in the second half.
And the leaders, Wycombe, their unbeaten run is coming to an end, perhaps, because they're 1 down at home to Darlington. Preston against Reading in the Championship. News of a goal, Richard Askham.
It's now Preston North End 2, Reading 1. Stephen Elliott on his full debut for Preston with the goal. It came from a corner. Marcus Hanneman in the Reading net missed it, and there was Elliott on hand to volley the ball home. Preston 2, Reading 1.
Third place, Reading could be going to defeat at Preston. Goal in the Ipswich-Swansea game, Andy May.
2-2. Swansea have dominated the second half, but Ipswich are back in it now. 2-2 and a second for striker Pablo Canago in this match. Just a tap in this time, unlike his first half volley. 1-1, now 2-2 here at Portman Road.
Well, 1 point for 12 for Queen's Park Rangers. Looks like they may be getting back on track. Very pretty confirming news. They've taken the lead at home to Nottingham Forest. This is Nottingham Forest, who have lost all 5 away games, bottom of the table. Tony Lockwood reporting.
Rangers 2, Forest 1. More misery on the road for Forest without a single point on their travels. Angelo Balanta with Rangers opener from 2 yards. Bazaki's effort more spectacular. 18 yards out, perfectly struck with his left foot. But a moment ago, Ray, Lewis McGogan, 25 yards out, top corner, Forest with a glimmer of hope. Rangers 2, Forest 1.
That could be a key victory for Queen's Park Rangers, getting them back towards the playoff places. Southampton and Watford were next to each other in the table, both 3 points above the drop zone when the game at St Mary's kicked off. Andy Barwell reporting.
Well, it's 3-0 to Watford, and to miss 1 penalty might be unlucky. To squander 2 is careless and costly for Southampton. I'm sure Southampton's head coach Jan Portvliet knows that it's not going to be his side's day today. The guilty men, David McGoldrick and Paul Wotton. Watford have fit Southampton on the break. Thomas Priskin with his first goals in ages, either side of a goal from John Eustace. It's Southampton 0, Watford 3.
5th against 4th in League One. There was some trouble off the pitch too. On the pitch, Millwall had taken a 3-1 lead. Neil Harris with 2 minutes to go. Points for Millwall this afternoon. Millwall 3, Leeds 1. Rotherham 3, Barnet 4. 4 all the way back. Rotherham were in deep trouble there, and now they've pulled back to 3-4. Let's go immediately to Anfield. News of another goal in the Liverpool-Wigan game. Damien Johnson.
Liverpool have come back from the dead again. Dirk Kuyt with his second goal. Rather similar to Zaki's, although he didn't strike it quite as cleanly. Jermaine Pennant with a fine work down the right-hand side. The best piece of work from the wingman all afternoon. He took on his man, crossed the ball, and it was a kind of an overhead kick which he slightly mishit Kuyt, but the ball bounced past Kirkland, and Liverpool from 2-1 down lead 3-2.
Well, they've done it again. They were 2 down, weren't they, against 10 men against Manchester City, and they pulled it back. They're going to keep their unbeaten record going, and they're going to join Chelsea at the top of the table.
There's bags of belief in that side, isn't there? To keep going the way they have, you know, in a really difficult game. They've had a little bit of luck as well, because this one's hit the bar, hit the post, and actually gone in. So you do need that. You know, there's been times in this game, as in the Man City game, where they haven't dominated, but they've got out of jail again.
The game's bonkers, you know. We've just watched Fulham and Sunderland. So Richardson's hit a goal. You see tonight match of the day. He hits one post from a free kick, hits the opposite post, comes back, and the keeper gets it. Kuyt gets a chance in the last few minutes. Hits the crossbar, hits the post, doesn't go out but goes in. 3-2 against all the odds. Wigan come away with nothing.
Sometimes, Ray, when you're desperate to defend something right in the last minute, you defend too deep, and as the ball crosses in, they've got 3 defenders all the way back, and they've left Kuyt on the edge of on the penalty spot. Free chance, bit of luck, but defending-wise, they just need someone to pick up.
He might not score many, but when he does, he scores the important ones, doesn't he?
I think it's fair to say that Garth is not applauding that third goal at Anfield. 5th against 4th in League One. Well, that was their positions at 3 o'clock. Millwall playing Leeds, watched by Ben Jacobs.
Millwall 3, Leeds 1. Neil Harris's second goal of the game means Millwall should get their first victory over Leeds since 1988. A terribly short back pass by Captain Robinson left Lucas absolutely nowhere. Harris finishing from a tight angle. His first goal was a neat chip. The other goal coming from David Martin as well. Becchio had put Leeds ahead, but since then they've been very poor both on and, it has to say, unfortunately off the field as well. Some fans got tickets behind the Millwall goal, and when Harris scored his first, a fight ensued and missiles were unfortunately thrown. Police dealt with it quickly, but I am told the FA will look into the incident. Millwall 3, Leeds 1.
Scunthorpe top of the table as things stand, but it's intriguing. Things are changing round, and goals can change it even further. To the Emirates, Arsenal against Everton. Roger Johnson reporting. How long to go, Roger?
We've got 4 minutes to go here, Ray, and it's Arsenal 2, Everton 1. The goals for Arsenal are both in the second half, which have brought them back into it after Leon Osman put Everton ahead in the first period. The first one from Samir Nasri, who's gone off injured and been replaced by Abu Diaby, and the second from Robin van Persie, which could be the decisive one. Since that goal, the heat has gone out of the game somewhat. Arsenal have just tried to slow things down a little. Don't want to overstate it, but there has been a bit of trouble among some of the Everton fans behind Almunia's goal. It could just be as simple as the stewards trying to eject one, but I did see things thrown. But it's 2-1 to Arsenal, and they're playing down time.
Go.
Let's go to Villa Park. Aston Villa playing Portsmouth. Ivan Gaskell reporting. Ivan, we're seeing what we feel is sort of distressing scenes here.
Yes, from absolutely nowhere. A thoroughly absorbing game, no real drama. But one of the assistant referees has gone down on his knees, and it does appear the way the gestures from Harry Redknapp particularly are pointing as if maybe a missile has been thrown from behind the technical area here. This has been a thoroughly absorbing, pulsating game. There's been chances at both ends, no real controversy, but it looks as if the assistant referee, who is actually back on his feet again, I'm very glad to say, who is holding his head, it looks like he's gone down because of some sort of missile. We're not sure about that, but certainly fingers have been pointing, and Mike Riley, the referee, is looking in that direction. The game has come to a halt, and that's such a shame. It's been a terrific advert. Carew, by the way, just seconds earlier, had glanced the top of the crossbar with a fine header. 0-0 here, 3 minutes of added time left, and the assistant referee is now smiling, I'm glad to say. Harry Redknapp exchanging a conversation with him. Fingers are being pointed behind the dugout, that's for sure. Harry Redknapp's shaking his head in disbelief, and we'll keep you updated. 0-0.
Well, there's clearly a head injury there, and there was clearly a little bit of blood flowing from the head wound. Happily, the linesman, the assistant referee, is continuing. More on that. Obviously, that is going to be a major talking point at the end of today's games. Goal in the Kilmarnock-Motherwell game. Brian McLaughlin.
Yes, and it looks like it's going to be a last-minute winner for Kilmarnock, although we'll have 3 minutes of injury time. Craig Bryson, the scorer, Medi-Towel, made the goal. He drifted across 18-yard box, fired for goal himself. The ball was deflected into Bryson's path, and he guided it past Graham Smith and into the back of the net. Kilmarnock 1, 10-man Motherwell 0.
Final whistles are starting to sound all round the country, but there's still this time for winning goals. Cheltenham against Scunthorpe. Tony Colliver.
Cheltenham 1, Scunthorpe 2. It looked as if the game was heading for a draw, but dramatically with seconds left, Matt Sparrow for the visitors slid the ball home under the keeper. Cheltenham 1, Scunthorpe 2.
So that means Scunthorpe are going to take top of League One. Burnley against Birmingham. Birmingham kicked off as the championship leaders. Mark Bishop's at Turf Moor.
Burnley 1, Birmingham City 1. Alex McLeish's rotation policy nearly cost his side the game. Only when McFadden and Jerome came off the bench did his side look dangerous. Cameron Jerome couldn't miss on the rebound after Jensen parried McFadden's low drive, and that goal cancelled out Burnley's lead, engineered from Chris McCann's far post header. Terrific. A high-octane second half. Elliott hitting the crossbar again in the dying moments. Burnley 1, Birmingham City 1.
A landmark goal for a young man at the Emirates. Roger Johnson reporting.
Theo Walcott in the 89th minute has made it Arsenal 3, Everton 1. A fine finish from an acute angle on the right, swept in right-footed. He's made the difference since half-time. He set the platform for Arsenal's comeback. Everton will go home off the back of a 3-1 defeat.
It's been quite an afternoon. Final whistle's gone at Craven Cottage. Fulham against Sunderland. Dan Walker.
No goals, Ray, but plenty to talk about. Sunderland's Kieran Richardson was twice celebrating the opening goal. His first half free kick hit 3 posts and stayed out. His second half one went in but was disallowed for a foul in the wall. Jibril Cisse almost cracked the crossbar with a volley. At the other end, Zoltan Gira and Jimmy Bullard came close for Fulham, but Craig Gordon mopped everything up. Fulham would argue they deserved a point. Don't tell Roy Keane.
Final whistle's gone, I think, or are they still playing at Pride Park? This is Derby against Plymouth. Plymouth 5th in the table in the Championship at kick-off. Alan Biggs.
Yeah, it's finished, Ray. Derby 2, Plymouth 1. The end of Plymouth's 5-match unbeaten run, but Derby's unbeaten run now stands at 7 games, just about deserving it despite late Plymouth pressure, in which Seep and Marin both missed chances. All the goals brilliantly taken. Paul Gallagher for Plymouth, Rob Hulse and Paul Green for victorious Derby. For them, they've won 2-1.
Final whistles revealing full-time scores. Walsall 2, Hartlepool 3. Bristol City have beaten Norwich by a 0-0. This is the scene at the Reebok. Bolton against Blackburn. Andrew James watched this Lancashire derby.
Yeah, Bolton 0, Blackburn 0, Ray. A draw the right result. No shortage of passion in this Lancashire derby, but a shortage of quality the real problem. Jason Roberts missed the best chance of the game for Blackburn, putting a first half header wide from 6 yards. And on another day, Bolton's Matt Taylor could have had a hat-trick, but it wasn't to be today, and Blackburn will be the happiest of these two neighbouring sides.
Luton have lost again at home to Accrington Stanley. They can't get this points deficit away. Luton 1, Accrington Stanley 2. Falkirk against Aberdeen. Final whistle's gone in the SPL game that Steve Sutton's watching.
Yes, Ray, Falkirk 0, Aberdeen 1. Aberdeen off the bottom of the SPL, Falkirk replacing them. The Dons under fire boss Jimmy Calderwood breathing a little easier tonight. The only goal early in the second half, a Lee Miller header. Neil McCann should have levelled for Falkirk, but he blazed high over the bar, adding insult to injury. Falkland's Lee Bullen straight red-carded in added on time.
League One leaders Scunthorpe have won away at Cheltenham. Queen's Park Rangers have beaten Nottingham Forest bottom of the table. Final whistle's gone at Villa Park. Aston Villa against Portsmouth. Ivan Gaskell reporting.
It's finished 0-0. A fine advert really for the Premier League. Absorbing game throughout. So many chances, so many of them missed, but sadly marred by the end by an incident which has left everyone scratching their heads, not least the man who was apparently seemingly hit by a missile from the crowd. His name is Mr. Sharp. He's one of the assistant referees, and he suddenly went down on his hands and knees a minute into added time here, seemingly hit by a missile from behind the technical area. The investigation has begun on that. Generally, though, an absorbing game. Neither side could find a finish. Jermaine Defoe, the biggest culprit, several times finding the ball launching into virtual orbit instead of in the back of the net when he was really well placed. Posts were hit, bars were glanced off, but in the end it was 0-0. But a shame, such a good game was marred at the end by an incident which has left everyone puzzled and will be further investigated here. 0-0 at Villa Park.
Thanks, Ivan. Yes, no one's going to prejudge this, but I'm curious as to whether that was aimed at the assistant linesman or aimed at Harry Redknapp, perhaps.
No, well, that's the point I was trying to make. I think that's in the technical area. We know the problems that Harry had. I'm from that neck of the woods. It was built up in the local paper. It was after the police raided his home last year, very close to his time, and he got an awful lot of stick last year from the Wigan fans. He actually remarked upon it. That's very near his technical area. It wouldn't surprise me if that was actually aimed at Harry and has hit the linesman.
I do think there's a bigger point here, Ray, and that is no one should be throwing anything at anybody on the pitch. No. Aston Villa fans can redeem themselves here because they will know who that is. You've got a chance to redeem yourself here, do it.
Self-regulation from the fans, perhaps. Let's go to the Emirates, because it's all over in the Arsenal-Everton game. Roger Johnson.
It's finished Arsenal 3, Everton 1, a game which changed with the second half introduction of Theo Walcott. The Arsenal winger's injection of pace set the platform for their comeback, and it was he who stroked in the final goal in the 90th minute from an acute angle. Leon Osman had ghosted in to give Everton a deserved first-half lead, converting Stephen Pienaar's cross from 8 yards. Lescott also had a header cleared off the line, but Arsenal dominated after the break. Nasri drove them level from 18 yards. Van Persie then headed them ahead before Walcott put the gloss on a scoreline, which finished Arsenal 3, Everton 1.
Victory for Arsenal, Chelsea 5-0 winners at lunchtime. Liverpool and Wigan still playing. Damien Johnson reporting at Anfield.
Yeah, they are. It looks like Liverpool are heading for victory. 3-2 they lead. They have a free kick on the edge of the area. There have been some moments of tension at the other end. The Liverpool bench apoplectic, accusing Wigan of well, all sorts of tricks. Earlier on it was time wasting. In the recent moments it's just been so tense they want the final whistle to go. Still no sign of the final whistle, although there it goes. There it goes. Liverpool have won by 3-2.
So, Liverpool 3-2 winners. Did they deserve that victory overall, Steve?
They left it late yet again. No, I wouldn't have said they deserved to win it. They were probably the better side on the day, just about, but I'm not sure they deserve to win that. It's hard. They'll feel hard done by Wigan.
So, all the results are just about in. Time for Tim Gudgeon to confirm today's final scores.
And in the Barclays Premier League, Arsenal 3, Everton 1. Aston Villa 0, Portsmouth 0. Bolton Wanderers 0, Blackburn Rovers 0. Fulham 0, Sunderland 0. Liverpool 3, Wigan Athletic 2. That's latest, but I think it's full-time. Anyway, we should soon know. Manchester United and West Bromwich Albion have an evening kick-off in a few minutes' time. Middlesbrough 0, Chelsea 5. In the Coca-Cola Championship, Bristol City 1, Norwich City 0. Burnley 1, Birmingham City 1. Cardiff City 2, Charlton Athletic 0. Crystal Palace and Barnsley have an evening kick-off in a few minutes' time. Derby County 2, Plymouth Argyle 1. Doncaster Rovers 0, Blackpool 0. Ipswich Town 2, Swansea City 2. Preston North End 2, Reading 1. Queen's Park Rangers 2, Nottingham Forest 1. Southampton 0, Watford 3. Wolverhampton Wanderers 2, Coventry City 1. The Coca-Cola League 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 0, Hereford United 0. Carlisle United 3, Peterborough United 3. Cheltenham Town 1, Scunthorpe United 2. Crewe Alexandra 2, Milton Keynes Dons 2. Huddersfield Town 1, Bristol Rovers 1. Leyton Orient 0, Tranmere Rovers 1. Millwall 3, Leeds United 1. Northampton Town 3, Yeovil Town 0. Oldham Athletic 1, Leicester City 1. Southend United 2, Swindon Town 1. Stockport County 1, Colchester United 2. Walsall 2, Hartlepool United 3. In League 2, Aldershot Town 1, Brentford 1. Bradford City 2, Gillingham 2. Dagenham and Redbridge 1, Bury 3. Exeter City 0, Grimsby Town 0. Lincoln City 3, Chesterfield 1. Luton Town 1, Accrington Stanley 2. Morecambe 1, Rochdale 1. Notts County 1, Macclesfield Town 1. Rotherham United 3, Barnet 4. Shrewsbury Town 4, Bournemouth 1. Wycombe Wanderers 0, Darlington 1. The Clydesdale Bank Scottish Premier League, Falkirk 0, Aberdeen 1. Hamilton Academical 1, St Mirren 2. Inverness Caledonian Thistle 1, Celtic 2. Kilmarnock 1, Motherwell 0.
Early finish for final score on BBC One today. Time to look at just a couple of the updated league tables. And in the Barclays Premier League, Chelsea's biggest away win for 5 years keeps them ahead of Liverpool on goal difference. Both sides remain unbeaten. Arsenal move into third. Manchester United will complete a familiar-looking top four if they beat West Bromwich Albion in the 5:30 kickoff. Bottom two meet tomorrow. That is Tottenham and Stoke. Newcastle must wait until Monday to play. Fulham are non-movers. Everton and Bolton swap places. Quick look at the Coca-Cola Championship table. Wolves return to the top after fighting back from a goal down against Coventry. Birmingham second after their draw at Burnley. Reading returned from Preston empty-handed despite taking the lead. Cardiff up to fourth after their win against Charlton. At the bottom, Nottingham Forest remain at the foot of the table after defeat at Queen's Park Rangers. Colin Calderwood's side yet to claim a point away from home. Doncaster to do with Blackpool to end their six-match losing streak, while Barnsley meet Crystal Palace in today's late game. Quick look at the SPL. Celtic lead the way by 3 points after beating Inverness to record their fifth successive league win. Rangers match against Dundee United postponed after the death of United chairman Eddie Thompson. And via the red button, we'll look at the rest of the updated league tables and hear from managers and players as they emerge from their dressing rooms. Steve, Lee and Garth will debate and discuss today's football results. So, Liverpool pulled it out of the fire again, Garth.
Absolutely, and it just goes to show, I think Lee made the point, you can't play for 75 minutes in the Premier League, it's got to be 90.
So they came back to win. Chelsea very impressive at Middlesbrough, 5-0 winners.
Middlesbrough poor, but really impressed. 8 senior players out, Chelsea put sort of a team out that they thought could win the game. Win it, they absolutely dominated the game, they were brilliant.
Steve, you all said before the game that we'd learned something about Arsenal today. What do you think we learned?
Yeah, I mean, we learned that they're capable of coming back from goals down, which we probably already know, but they are, at times, they're still a little bit flaky at the back. The
coin throwing incident at Villa Park has just sort of really put a bit of a dampener on the afternoon, Garth. Do you agree?
Well, let's hope that Villa fans can redeem themselves and just point the culprit out. But in terms of football, we had a lot of good football today, a lot of good goals. Should we make a good, interesting match of the day?
Yeah. It's been a cracking afternoon. Time to say goodbye to BBC One viewers, but to stay with us here in the Final Score studio, just press the red button and follow the links. Otherwise, it's bye for now.